It just worked me to death. But guess what I did? I did it. And I smiled. And I said, great experience, guys. And now they're all my peers, and they have to answer to the fact they made me do that. They never expect me to stick around and be their equal or their boss, you know. But it worked out, you know, hard work ethic. The one thing is just be aware, too. I always tell people with generational issues when you're applying and interviewing, just know that every generation struggles with the next generation. I'm in that middle group. I guess they call me like a Gen X or whatever, and then there's like the millennials have all this reputation, the younger, and then the older baby boomer generation. And what happens is it's a lack of communication, okay? Be aware of this when you go into the workforce. I put a few examples. One girl, she took a selfie with her boyfriend after the interview outside of we interviewed, and then she was like, hey, Mr. Parker, that was me, and she like took a selfie with us. I'm fine with it. I actually didn't care. I was like, oh, I'm sure I'll make her Instagram posts or whatever. Like, didn't bother me. And one of the people in the interview was like, that's so unprofessional. It's a different generation. And for that generation, it would be very unprofessional. And so I was thinking, like, I think she just hurt her chances of getting this job by not recognizing that that's not going to cross over well. The whole idea of bridging the gap between these two generations. There is this generation that says, you work hard every day. It's the punch card generation. Like, shh, you know, like you come put in your 8 hours and I don't care what you're doing. You better just working hard and climb up. Like, that's not always good, but that's how some may think. And then this loose thinking, oftentimes we had somebody that needed to take a vacation because they needed to clear their head. They were younger. And I was like, well, you know you have to have vacation time. It's like an actual number on your paycheck, and you can't leave without having enough vacation time. They're like, but I just need to get away for a while. Like, we don't do sabbaticals. You're going to get fired. Bridging these things, and I put that at the bottom of be aware of how to communicate with all the different generational ages, because it's important, because ultimately the older folks in a company are still hiring. They're the ones making a lot of the decisions, so just be aware. I put at the bottom, just to be a little funny, but it's true. You know, hey, I'll help you make a picture collage of your grandkids on your new iPhone, and now we can have a conversation about me listening to music in my earbuds at work or teleworking, working from home, because that's how it works. We've had people that say, like, I can't believe they're listening to music while they're working. I'm like, this younger generation, do they produce a product that is satisfactory? Well, yeah. Then there's no problem with earbuds. I mean, as long as you're happy with the product, it's just making you uncomfortable because it's a different generation thing. So it's more about just having a conversation. Now at our office, everybody listens to music, earbuds, and it doesn't matter. No one cares. A lot of people, it's just a process. We do have people working from home. Now that we realize that, hey, you don't have to actually be in the office, like sweeping the floor, right? Like you can do work at home. But just know it's about a conversation. So when you get into the workforce, have a conversation. There might be somebody that clash with a little bit generationally. Just help them make a picture collage of their grandkids on their iPhone, and they'll be totally fine with you. They'll think you're great. And then you might, you know, bridging those divides. And the big one, which I heard it already, what somebody said, like the motto or the theme, what was that thing?
You get jobs by talking to people.
This is the big one. You get jobs by talking to people. People like me here today, we employ a lot of people. You've got to make contact. You've got to be a kind and friendly person. Attitude is important. Be competent, hardworking. Contact, meet these people. Talk to people. Be willing to do the job. This is an internship that I have. I have another internship that I offer too that's more in the lab, more science work. But this is one of them. And we actually employed a couple CNU students from this internship. And one stayed and did fantastic full-time work. And she, at the time, didn't make $13.05. That's the current rate. She made like $9 when she did it. I met her when I was in grad school here. And she was an undergrad. We took a class where I was grad. She was undergrad. I was like, she always sits in the front, gets good grades. I think it was Dr. Whiting's global change class. I think she was sitting in the front. And she was a smart girl. And she started talking about wanting a job. So I was like, hey, I have something. You seem always attentive in class. And she did this job, where you pump poo water out of somebody's boat holding tank. So you're basically pumping their bathroom into a tank and removing it so that they don't discharge into the waterways and create environmental pollution. So, not glamorous, but here's what you do get out of that. You get a lot of contacts. You have to make contact, and with that, you get the experience plus future references from 4 large employers, HRSD being one of them, the mothership of wastewater treatment, but it's sponsored by the city of Virginia Beach, who wants it out of their waterways, the city of Norfolk, and the Virginia Department of Health, and now actually there's another one with the city of Hampton. So all of these cities who offer utilities and public works and different jobs, you can actually connect. So you have to connect with people. That's how you get jobs, is connecting to people who can tell you, hey, this is how you apply. This is what helps you apply. These are the things you should know. How much money? I want to cover this because this is like important. As you graduate and start thinking about making money, I remember at Old Dominion as a senior, like we really didn't know what making money was. People had big figures, like we're going to get this degree and we're going to make, and they went all over the place. Some people thought they were just going to be crazy rich. Other people were like, yeah, we're probably not going to make any money. So I wanted to put out there like real salary figures so you can see where we are. This says entry level. You'll be crawling down pipes and setting up sensors and doing water quality monitoring, but you'll be the one actually going in the pipe. And not always that clean. Sometimes you have to push the snapping turtle out of the way or the spider webs. And the pay is $34,000 to $49,000. 34 is really where you start, and then you work your way up to 49. But that's only if you were to stay there. And if you're sharp and you have all those things we talked about, you're not going to stay there until you get 49,000. This will be your entry level to get you training and experience in water quality monitoring. Because again, there's a whole process to setting up automated samplers, to running continuous pH and dissolved oxygen and temperature readings, and then graphing all this. Bachelor's bachelor's degree required. This is our water quality specialists. These are running the programs now out in the field. You're setting up the samplers. You're making it all happen. You're not creating the events. You're just the one that's going to be sent out there to make it happen and be in charge of the field crew. This is where you'll be after not a long period of time. This is the people with experience. Now you're going to become this a couple of years at the most. 49 to 69,000. Now you're starting to get in a range where you're like, well, at least I could now buy a car and a house. Plus, I will say working for a utility, any large utility, you do get decent benefits. So you 14 paid holidays, vacation time, pension still, which is crazy. Eventually, you do a good job. This is all, see, you hear the same theme. Good work ethic, do a good job, good attitude, and you supervise people now because they said, hey, you have good working skills with others, you've shown you can lead, you understand the technical aspects of the projects, and now you can make $63,000 to $88,000. But a master's degree at this point is not required but preferred. So you can get to this level without a master's degree, but it's getting easier for those that have master's degrees. I'll talk in a minute. Don't fear if you're only planning on getting a bachelor's degree, because I'll explain later how further education can come later in your career. You become a manager, like a scientist, where you're actually now drawing up the plans. And you're creating, I want a project to study nitrification inhibition for this industry's impact on our Norfolk treatment plant. And now you're at 75 to 105,000. And I say that range because you start at the bottom, and as years in, you just get increases as long as you're not doing a terrible job. And this is where your bachelor's degree and your PhD are going to be required. Master's degree is all that's required. PhD is required for certain elements of this. Like if they're looking for somebody to do heavier research, they're going to look for a PhD. If they're looking for, like in my case, they really put me in charge of things where I'm overseeing organization, finances, getting people together, getting money in, and making things happen like that. You will fail a lot in the process. I just want to tell you, like the whole utopian thing of like, I want to go out and make a difference. That's where you do want to go out and make a difference. But know things will happen, and you'll have lots of setbacks. The J.K. Rowling's book's pretty good. It says, "It is impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default."
She's some brain
Just put it out there.
That's great.
And I put this golf course out there because when I came out of school, like I had this great idea. We would irrigate that golf course at Old Dominion University right beside our treatment plant. We had water that could be used to irrigate the golf course. How easy. It's like 100 yards at the most, maybe not even that. It's about like 50 yards. And so in the perfect world of everybody caring about the environment and doing the right thing, you send the water over there and water the grass and everybody's happy and rainbows and unicorns. And then the city shuts that down. They're not going to lose the sale of potable water to water the golf course. So it's like, well, what is this? All this politics. People are like shutting down good environmental projects because somebody has to make money. And so you're going to get shot down and you're going to learn real quick, like, it's just a process. So I don't care now about oil and grass. We're going to put it in the ground. The golf course, anybody can water now because it's our SWIFT project. So eventually you get to something even better. You just have to be persistent and recognize that it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be a messy process. There's a lot of politics and money and people and all that messy stuff. So one last thing. Get your foot in the door anywhere. But if you do get it with a great utility, whether it's HRSD, City of Virginia Beach, City of Norfolk, City of wherever you're from, maybe you're not from Hampton Roads. My bachelor's degree, yeah, thanks Mom and Dad, they paid for most of that. I did work part-time and paid for my books and parking and helped them out a little bit. But for the most part, I came out from Old Dominion without debt. I was a commuter student. So yeah, thanks Mom and Dad. I get working at HRSD. But here's where it's crazy, right? Like, how do I go back to school? You saw you need a master's degree and stuff. Well, I was working at HRSD. I came here to CNU, finished the master's degree, and I don't know how much the master's degree costs. It's a good bit of money. But thanks to HRSD, they paid for all of it, including the binding of my thesis. They covered it all. This is the advantage of not being so in a hurry to try to figure it all out. But if you do get your foot in the door, look at the benefits. And yes, if you want me to get an MBA and learn all these financials, and so that's 2 master's degrees completely covered by my employer. That's a lot of money, by the way, if you've done the math on master's degrees. And I could turn right around tomorrow and say I want to do a PhD and it would be covered. My boss would probably be like, "Are you sure you're going to have a heart attack?" I probably wouldn't because I need to relax a little bit. Just know it's these opportunities that could really give you a chance that you may not have otherwise. That doesn't come with as much debt. We've had 0 layoffs in our more than 75-year history. Why is that? Well, flushing your toilet. Hey man, don't flush the toilets this week. I'm saving money. Said no person ever. Like, even if your friends are hard up for cash, you can still flush the toilet. Nobody wants you to save what's in there because they don't want the water. So this is one of the things to talk about recession-proof. Yeah, you might, some people might go a few before flushes, but you're not going to wait the week. People will flush their toilets, which means HRSD will always have work, which it's always there. It's recession-resistant. Now, not recession-proof because we still couldn't hire during the downturn of the economy. It was difficult, but no one was laid off even in this major downturn that we had in 2008, 2010. It's political party neutral, which is key in today's politically swinging environment. Like, you go to work in one company that's to this side, and this political party takes power. Next thing you know, your funding's cut, and then it swings back the other way, and you're just wondering who's going to be in office, whether I'll have a job. Not if you work for a wastewater utility. Democrats flush toilets, Republicans flush toilets. Everybody loves having their toilet water flushed and it not going in the streets.